If you like this video, why not subscribe?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the late weekly recap Q&A where I sit in my car kind of like a podcast and you listen if you so choose. You can tab away and do other things while you listen to the sound of my soothing voice as I answer questions from last week and hopefully bring you up to date on what's going on with the Frugal Filmmaker. If you would like a question answered on this show, the best way to do it is to email me at thefrugalfilmmaker@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to answer you personally through email and also on this show. I apologize, there wasn't a Frugal Filmmaker video last week. I've been kind of slammed as usual. I've had a few production woes with Collection Day. I lost my costumer, and so I'm looking for another one. And we're shooting October 11th, so you might say I'm a little bit stressed out, but things are moving ahead, and the movie's going to get made. Costumer is really important, especially when you're dealing with kind of science fiction, because you want the costuming to kind of reflect sort of at least in my case, a near future kind of edge. So even though we aren't making costumes per se, I'm assembling them. We will be assembling them from existing stuff, but we need to order that existing stuff, and so I'm in a little bit of a bind. But anyway, we'll move ahead and get things done. Let's go ahead and start with our questions today. The first one is a YouTube comment from Christopher Klungland. He commented on my recap from last week, and even though we were talking about actors that quit, he asks, based on something I said in my video, why not use the hacked GH2, or why am I not shooting my movie on a hacked GH2 for the increased bit rate, I believe. And I've been going around and around with my DP on cameras because I do have money to rent a camera, to rent something a little better than my existing camera. But one thing that we both agree on is neither of us are real big fans of the micro four thirds format just because of the crop. I already deal with crop factor on my APS-C sensor on my Sony NEX5N, and I don't want to have the crop be even more so. He agrees, so that's why one reason we're shying away from, because we were actually looking at renting a GH3, which is pretty inexpensive. It's like $200 for 3 weeks, which is our shooting window. But neither of us are a fan of that extra crop. So, however, it looks like if I'm going to use my Minolta lenses, which I really want to use for a more 1970s look, early 80s look, it's either an E-mount, a Sony NEX camera, or a micro four thirds mount, because they adapt the best. So using an E-mount allows me to use a camera like FS100, FS700, any of the Sony NEX line, basically, which I like anyway. So that's what we're looking at. That's why I'm not really leaning toward the GH2 or GH3, even though, who knows? I mean, the way things are going, the world's kind of flipped upside down anyway. So, but I really like, the FS700 is nice because it has built-in ND filters, which will definitely speed things up when we shoot outdoors. And it's also got an awesome, high frame rate slow motion that can be worth the extra money it would cost to rent it. So, and that brings up another issue, is that I have a pretty decent budget for this, but I also need to spend it, because anything I don't spend is going to be considered income. So it's kind of like a Brewster's Millions kind of situation, that I need to spend my money frugally, of course, and wisely, and make sure it goes into the production. But I shouldn't maybe shy away from renting a slightly more expensive camera because I'm being too frugal, because it would definitely benefit the production. So that's why. Hopefully I've answered your question, Christopher. Thanks for writing in. The next question is another YouTube comment on my video Auditioning Actors from YouTube user Ruben Obed, who asks, so I have to record audio separately on my Zoom H1. Here's the question: what is the sequence to effectively record things? For example, do I start the camera first or the zoom first? Should I clap once, then yell action? Well, the official way it's handled on movie sets is that the sound is recorded first, then there's a sound slate, say, Scott in his car, scene 1, take 1. The sticks are raised on your clapper slate, they roll camera, and then someone yells marker. I'm not sure who holds the slate, I keep forgetting. They then clap the slate, and then the AD says, and then the director calls action. Now, the reason they did it that way by rolling sound first and rolling camera at the very last second was because they were shooting on film. Film was expensive. They didn't want to waste film. So a lot of that's carried over to today. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way, definitely, because you still don't want to waste file space. However, typically the way I usually do things is I'll have the slate up in front of the camera. And another reason you want to have it up always in front of the camera is because once you do roll, you want to be able to see as a thumbnail what your slate is, so you know what scene you are looking at without having to scrub through it. But I'll usually have the slate up, roll camera, and then do all what I just mentioned, the sound slate on camera, and then marker, and then call action. So that's how I do it. I mean, it's not really the official way. The official way is kind of what I described to you. That's the way you should see it on a typical film set. So my way tends to be more conservative, especially since I usually have multiple people doing various jobs all at the same time. So, and if you've seen any of my behind the scenes videos, you'll kind of see it that way. So that's what I do, Ruben. Hope that helps. All right, our final question comes from Devin Velez, who says, I was just curious if you could go over some equipment you would want to bring on a wedding/special event shoot to make sure the job would go smooth and look as professional as possible. This is a great question, Devin. I haven't done a lot of event / wedding shooting, but I've done enough to know what I like, obviously, to use. I usually, when I'm shooting a wedding, I'll bring handheld rig. Lately, it seems like that's what I'll stick to, like the Frugal Stabilizer II, I believe, was the last rig that I used. I've also used the original PVC stabilizer on wedding shoots. I like handheld rings because it keeps you mobile. So if you want to, you're running around in the reception, let's say, and you want to get various shots of various people, and tripod is cumbersome to do that. However, recently I was at the wedding and events shooting stuff, and I realized, I need something else that's going to make me more versatile, because I want to get the biggest variety of shots with the least amount of equipment change, because things will happen. You need to run over somewhere and get the action. So you want kind of a rig that will do multiple things, not just handheld stuff. Maybe you want to stabilize more, so you need something that's going to hit the ground, and a lot of people use monopods. I've actually am in the process of developing, or I've actually used it once already. I'm calling it the Event Pod, that I'll be sharing with you in the near future. And essentially it's a modified monopod that allows you to get several setups quickly and change your rig to do different things, like a monopod with a more sturdy base with feet actually in the bottom, as well as like a two-handed stabilizer rig, as well as a shoulder rig. So that's something I'll be sharing with you in the near future, because I've had the same exact situation where, like, I want to get the most variety of shots. What if I want to do like an overhead shot or a high angle shot? Well, I'm not going to bring the crane, because there's no way I could change setups in time to get everything. So I needed something that was kind of fast and versatile. But again, I mean, obviously you don't know what I'm talking about yet. I haven't shown how to make one of these, but I will in the near future. But in the meantime, if you have a wedding to shoot, let's say, I would bring something, some kind of camera rig that allows you to get the highest variety of shots, so that way you can impress your clients later by having, shots that are more than just kind of a standard look. Even though that's what I've done in the past, but hopefully this rig will help me. And I have used it once, and it did work. I mean, it did give me a variety of shots opposed to just kind of everything at the same level. But you can always, mix it up. Hold the camera over your head and shoot down, hold it low and shoot up, that kind of thing. Put it on the floor. And the handheld rig will allow you to do that. I'll leave a link to both rigs below that exist right now, the PVC Stabilizer Rig and the Frugal Stabilizer II, so that if you would like to use something like that now, you can. Those are really inexpensive to build. So that's what I would use. And in fact, if you're looking for, looking professional, I think the Frugal Stabilizer II looks pretty good. I mean, it's camera brackets, but they're metal and they're black. You don't have to paint them or anything. If you're going to use the PVC stabilizer, you might want to make sure that it's painted black or covered in hockey tape. That's what I did, so that it looks more like gear. In fact, I know some people have talked about, well, I don't want to show up on a client shoot with something made out of PVC because it looks tacky. And I can relate to that, although when I've covered My PVC and hockey tape, I've never had that kind of reaction. But okay, so I'm shooting weddings and simple events. I'm not, these aren't big client shoots. But if you're worried about that, I would say, build something like the Frugal Stabilizer II. And the event pod that I'm working on also looks professional. I've been trying to work that into my design so that if people are going to take these on client shoots, it looks decent enough to where no one's going to raise an eyebrow, and say, why did I hire you, Mr. Frugal Filmmaker? Because your stuff looks terrible. I've tried to have an aesthetic, hopefully, that will prevent that sort of impression. So anyway, that's everything for this week. Again, our question, since I've been talking about wedding / event shooting gear, is what do you bring to events? What kind of gear do you bring to event shooting that helps you to get the shots you need as well as look professional? So leave a comment below. Let everyone know what your thoughts are. Kind of get a conversation about it would be great. And remember, if you want a question answered on this show, please email me at thefrugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. I'll do my best to answer it in a timely manner. And on this show, there's also the blog, thefrugalfilmmaker.com, kind of the hub of all my material, and then the Facebook group, which is just a variety of people, lots and lots of people that have varying opinions that can help you with your problem. It's basically a big forum. It's a very simple forum as far as organization, because there is no organization. It's just one thing at a time, one topic, basically, because everything gets pushed down. But check it out if you're interested in filmmaking. That's become a great resource, I think. And then Twitter, at Frugal Filmmaker, if you'd like to see what I'm tweeting. At any rate, have a great week. If you're shooting a movie, good luck. I'll be shooting mine. Start shooting mine on October 11th, so hopefully I'll have my issues resolved. But good luck to you, and look for a video this week, and we'll see you next week with a Q&A. Bye.